Thank you, Oksana. And I'm now turning to Dr. Stephanie McGowan of the Felician University, and she's going to talk to us about the evolving role of women and leadership.
Good afternoon. It is indeed a great honor to speak before you today regarding the importance of promoting girls and women in science. Proudly, I serve as Dean of the School of Education at Felician University. In that role, I am charged with recruiting inspired young people poised to enter the profession of teaching, a role that has historically been dominated by women. The role of teacher, a sacred and trusted visionary who imparts knowledge in a way that makes learning relevant, exciting, and necessary, has become an essential ingredient in the recruitment and retention of young girls and women in science. Time and time again, both girls and boys are enchanted with the excitement of science in primary school, and yet as they progress into secondary education, for young girls and women, their love and passion dwindles, and the inequity of those continuing in the field of science begins. According to a 2013 article in the New York Times, Why Are There So Few Women in Science?, the author expresses that the greatest reason for the disparity of girls pursuing STEM in the United States beyond middle school is due to the variables such as exposure, encouragement, and relevancy during their formative years. It is then further exacerbated by the resources of the communities in which they live in, and even greater influenced by their ethnicity. Universities such as Felician, who are committed to providing an outstanding post-secondary education to first-generation college students stemming from some of the most financially challenged communities, must find creative ways to support our young people who wish to pursue STEM, areas knowing that they were not given resources or foundational knowledge in their formative years, but have the desire and the will to work toward achieving it. By providing opportunities in both the natural and social sciences, we continue to push the boundaries at Felician that enable programming that our students see as responsive to the issues that our communities face and to become necessary agents of change. It is in that spirit today that I proudly share that Felician University will be launching the International Center for Autism and Disability Research and Education in the coming months. This center allows for the focused scientific research such as eye tracking of infants for early detection of autism, and while promoting the social science dissemination of best practices, support for families, development of intervention, and policy advocacy. For me, the center and committed vision of Felician University to promote respect for human dignity, compassion, and transformation call upon another role that I serve in when thinking about how much more enriched the field of science would be with greater presence of women. The role is the most basic and traditional role women play around the world, and it is the role of mother. As a parent of 12-year-old twins, my son is diagnosed with Down syndrome, and my daughter is diagnosed with autism. How I saw the world and the importance of science in it changed immensely. I crossed over from the role of inspiring future scientists as an educator and teacher to becoming a strong voice for the need of new science interventions and research in the role of advocate for my children and for the members of my community who are disabled or uniquely abled. Finding scientific interventions to address the phenomenon of autism spectrum disorder, which currently impacts approximately 1 in 68 children in the United States, also has extraordinary financial impacts on our global economy. According to the U.S. Center for Disease Control, the average yearly cost of medical care, special education, schooling, and loss of parental work productivity for children and adults diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder was close to $60 billion. Who better than the women of our global society, the natural caretaker and the giver of life, to champion the change that will benefit the very core of the family, our children. As women, we must also provide role models for our young girls. And in addition to my role as mother and academic, I'm also a two-term elected councilwoman for the borough of Rutherford in the state of New Jersey. Elected to serve nearly 19,000 residents of my community, I am indeed a public servant. As such, I've been granted the extraordinary opportunity to represent and advocate for the best interests of our residents, but also to be inspired by the emerging leadership of women in traditional male roles across different science disciplines who serve as examples to our next generation of young women. Today, I'm proud to be joined by a few of those amazing examples who proudly serve my hometown. They're the daily role models to the many young women across our community who are inspired to pursue the professions of forensic, police, and fire sciences. Thank you to Sergeant Julianne Ziegler, police officers Catherine Caliani and Alexandra Arnold, and firefighter Jacqueline Caraprisi, as well as our police chief, John Russo, and fire chief, Jade Fromm, for your outstanding example and inspiration to and for our community, our state, our country, and our world. I am very well aware of the challenges we as women face in diversifying our experience as we navigate the many hats we wear and the many roles we play. Today, let us celebrate the amazing journey and contribution we as women have made to our communities across all of our disciplines. Let us continue to be vigilant in providing opportunities, serving as role models, and encouraging our next generation and all those who follow to challenge perceived and actual boundaries and strive for the inclusion of girls and women in all facets of our society. Let us continue to champion these dynamic game changers across all disciplines of science, technology, and innovation. Now more than ever, the world, our communities, and most importantly, our children need your talent and contribution. Thank you.